Imagine standing on the edge of a deserted stretch of coastline. In front of you lies gold piled up, gleaming in the sun, but there isn't a single person in sight. You set down your own goods, some cloth, some salt, step back, and disappear into the shadows. A while later, another group emerges from the trees. They look over your goods, take a bit of the gold away, and walk off again, without saying a single word. This wasn't magic. It wasn't a scene from a movie. This was one of the strangest, oldest trading systems in human history. A system where two peoples who didn't share a language, who may never have even seen each other's faces, who could have easily robbed or killed each other, chose instead to trade goods peacefully. For centuries, no handshake, no conversation, no name ever exchanged. And yet, somehow, it worked again and again, across generations. It's called silent trade. And today, we're going back to a world where deals were sealed without a single word spoken, purely on trust. The oldest written record of this comes from a Greek historian, Herodotus, who lived roughly 2,500 years ago. In his book, The Histories, he describes something remarkable. Carthaginian traders, from what is now Tunisia, would sail along the Atlantic coast of Africa to regions rich in gold. But the people living there, whose names Herodotus never even recorded, didn't speak the Carthaginian language and had no interest in meeting face to face. So what did they do? The Carthaginians would lay out their goods, cloth, salt, other trade items, on the shore, then retreat back to their ships, far enough that they were out of sight. Then they'd light a fire, sending up smoke as a signal. "We're here. Your goods are waiting." After a while, the local people would come, inspect the goods, and if they liked what they saw, they'd leave gold beside it, then withdraw again. Out of view, the Carthaginians would return. If the gold seemed like a fair amount, they'd take it and leave. If it wasn't enough, they'd leave it untouched and wait. The local traders would understand that wasn't enough gold and add more. This exchange would continue, without a single word exchanged, without either side ever directly facing the other, until both parties were satisfied. Herodotus himself seemed amazed by what he was describing. He noted that neither side ever cheated the other. The gold was never taken until a fair trade was struck, and the goods were never touched until enough gold had been left behind. Think about that. Two peoples who didn't understand each other's language, who could easily have attacked or cheated one another, who had no police, no judges, no written agreement to hold them accountable. And yet, for centuries, they traded honestly, using nothing but this silent ritual. It would be a mistake to think this was a one-time, one-place event. Silent trade, also known as dumb barter, has been documented in many parts of the world, across very different time periods. In Siberia, ancient Russian fur traders used this exact method to buy valuable furs from local tribes. Leave the goods, step back, come back later. In Southeast Asia, forest-dwelling groups like the Aida people of the Philippines obtained salt or iron tools from outsiders, using this same silent method, never making direct contact. Similar traditions have been recorded in parts of India and Sri Lanka, where forest tribes obtained goods from the outside world without ever showing their faces. Perhaps the most famous example after Herodotus comes from medieval West Africa, the legendary gold salt trade across the Sahara. Arab travelers described how caravans from the north would arrive at agreed spots, lay out blocks of precious salt, and withdraw. Gold miners from the south, whose kingdom's location was kept a closely guarded secret, would then come forward, leave gold dust beside the salt, and retreat. This silent exchange helped build the wealth of powerful empires like ancient Ghana, all without either side ever revealing exactly where their gold came from. And here's the truly fascinating part. This wasn't some primitive, unsophisticated system. It was actually remarkably clever. Think about it. Groups with completely different languages, different customs, and no basis for trust could easily have ended up in conflict, deception, or even war. Silent trade eliminated all of that. No conversation, no misunderstanding, no direct confrontation, just goods, and a quiet atmosphere of mutual honesty. Now the most interesting question, if no one spoke, no contracts were signed, no guarantees given, how did people trust each other at all? This is where a beautiful side of human nature reveals itself. Scientists agree that silent trade worked because both sides understood one simple rule: cheat once, and the trade relationship ends forever. It was what game theorists call a repeated game, where today's decisions shape tomorrow's relationship. If the Carthaginians left too little cloth and took too much gold, the local traders would simply stop showing up next time. Or worse, retaliate. If the local people took the goods and the gold both, without leaving a fair exchange, the Carthaginians would never return. So both sides, for centuries, maintained this fragile but remarkably effective system of trust, purely because each side cared about the future of the relationship. Anthropologists point out something else. Too silent trade often took place between groups who saw each other as dangerous strangers, sometimes even enemies. By removing all direct contact, neither side had to worry about a surprise attack, a kidnapping, or a fight breaking out over a bad deal. The silence wasn't just about language, it was a built-in safety mechanism. This might be one of the earliest pieces of evidence that humans can build a functioning system of trade without shared language, without laws, without any government, purely through mutual self-interest and trust. All of this mattered because, back then, nothing resembling money existed yet. Today, we pull out a note or a coin and buy whatever we need. But thousands of years ago, humans had no such simple system. Trade happened directly, goods for goods, salt for gold, cloth for fur, tools for food. But barter systems had one major flaw, what economists call the double coincidence of wants. I need your gold, but you also need to want something I have. Only then can a trade actually happen. Silent trade offered a clever workaround. Because both sides already knew what the other wanted, the only remaining question was, how much? This was the foundation on which the world's first real currency systems would eventually be built. Cowrie shells collected from distant oceans, blocks of salt, cast metal tools, and eventually stamped coins, each one designed to solve the very same problem silent trade had already been solving for thousands of years. How do you make two strangers agree on value? But before any of that, for centuries, humans held the world together through this quiet, mysterious exchange of goods, proving that an economy doesn't need money to function, it just needs trust. You might not believe this, but silent trade hasn't entirely disappeared. Some remote forest communities, still relatively isolated from the outside world, occasionally use this exact same method to obtain essential goods. No direct contact, just trust that the other side will be fair. And if you look closely, echoes of this mindset still exist in the modern world too. When you buy something online from a seller you've never seen, never met, you still send your money, trusting that the product will arrive as promised. Even entire modern systems are built on the same idea. Online marketplaces rely on ratings and reviews instead of face-to-face trust. Cryptocurrency and blockchain technology were literally designed to let total strangers exchange value without needing to know or trust each other personally, just a different digital version of leaving gold on a beach and walking away. Maybe even thousands of years later, the way humans build trust hasn't changed as much as we think. We've just swapped the beach for a screen. So next time you make a deal with a stranger, buy something from a shopkeeper in a new city, or place an online order, stop and think for a moment. Thousands of years ago, two peoples who spoke different languages, who never even saw each other's faces, traded for centuries purely on silence and trust. No laws, no contracts, no banks, not a single word spoken, just gold on a beach and the quiet faith that the other side would do the right thing. If you enjoyed this video, hit like. And if you want more mind-bending history stories like this one, hit subscribe right now and don't forget the bell icon. Let me know in the comments, could you trust a complete stranger that much without ever speaking to them? See you in the next video with another story that will blow your mind.